There's nothing more iconic about life in the West than a cattle drive. Now, if you're like me, a kid who grew up in the cities of the West, we spent our childhood dreaming that we would be out here with our 10-gallon hat and our chaps riding the range with Dusty and the gang. Well, now it actually can happen. Many cattle ranches, working cattle ranches, when they move their summer and winter rangelands with their cattle, now invite people to come along. It helps them defray the costs of sustaining the ranching way of life.
When you get out on trail with real cowpokes that make their living wrangling cattle and moving them from place to place and taking care of the ranch, you get a different perspective. It's not quite what you see in Rawhide or on one of those old TV shows where you had cattle running across the West, but it is a very daring way of life. The Utah Farm Bureau recognizes that there are a handful of rancher operators, not just the Heaton Ranch, that actually get assistance from people who are trying to take working vacations. It's a real trend and it's growing across the West. Now, I'm not out here today because I've got special connections. This is something that anyone like you can do if you desire to do it. And it's a win-win situation because you get the experience and the cattle ranchers get a hand that they desperately need in this day and age. A few extra bodies on a cattle drive makes a big difference, even if they're not super skilled cowboys. But if you can help keep the herd together and moving, that's a big lift for the ranchers.
It helps me get my cattle from our summer range to our winter range. Probably the most cost-effective way is trailing them.
You know, I think more and more people, they grow up in the city and they don't understand where milk comes from, where beef comes from, different things that are raised out in the country, basically. So, it gives people an opportunity to come out and see, what it takes to get that meat in the grocery store. After you herd a cow for 10 days, sometimes it makes you appreciate the taste of beef a little more, especially that one that kept trying to get away.
Well, this is a vacation that you choose and pay for. It's not one that you can choose to do for just a couple of hours. This is an investment that is all day long, and the days start early.
First thing this morning, we got up and got a few horses saddled and went out to the range where the cattle were being held before we left. We gathered them, counted them through the gate, and then we drove them about 10 miles down here to this corral right here. Trying not to lose any, I'm sure we did, but we tried hard not to.
In the days of the Old West, when they actually drove cattle across the open range from Texas up to the Union stockyards in Chicago, the largest herds that any cattle operator would run would be about 1,000 head of cattle. Well, we were pretty close on this one because as the gate counted through, there were 800 on the trail. While many working ranches from Grass Creek to Monticello here in the state of Utah offer cattle drives, there's one thing unique about the run that the Heaton Ranch makes, and it is the terrain that you go through. I am convinced that if John Huston had known what this land looked like, the set for many John Wayne movies would have been slightly different. You know, what was surprising to me about this cattle drive is I thought they'd be guys like me that, grew up as little kids wearing cowboy boots that were too big and just running around pretending that we were cowboys with stick horses. But no, these people come from all over the world. On our cattle drive, we had people from England, Australia, France, from really all over the world.
I've always thought this job is kind of like traveling around the world but not ever going anywhere. I mean, you get to meet all these people and everybody has a different story and different experiences. There's some very interesting people that you get to meet. And basically, it's their little niche in their part of the country, just like we kind of have a niche here.
These guys are a great group of people, and they are doing an outstanding job this time. Sometimes it's not so good, but these guys are great.
While this may feel like the Old West, there are modern conveniences. Instead of camp beans and dry biscuits on a fire and a bedroll under a tree, when you end the day, there's a camp with a nice hot dinner waiting for you. And you can guarantee that it will be there in the morning, and it'll be there every night. When the sun finally goes down, and you're just about ready to think that you've got a 24-hour-a-day job, the doggies find their pasture, and camp is there waiting for you. And as you slide off that saddle, and you say, I just can't move anymore, there's still an inner excitement about tomorrow.
I don't have legs anymore.
Loved it, loved it.
My knees are sore.
My family were right. I am crazy.
I'm sore and I'm tired and I'm ready for, I think, 8 more days or 7 more days of this, so it's all good.
Well, I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get to do something that not very many people get to do anymore. I think it's a great opportunity for them. I think these guys get to live their dream. I'm glad we get to be a part of it.
Well, it's the end of the day. I guarantee that after dinner, there will not be a lot of late stories by the campfire because everybody here is tired. Now, if you think about it, this is 1 day in 600 days of ranching it takes to get a cow from birth to marketplace. And it's a $12 billion industry here in the state of Utah. Think how hard the cowboys work to earn it. Think about that next time you sit down for beefsteak dinner. For At Your Leisure, I'm Chadwick.
Hey guys, if you liked that video, you're going to want to watch all of our other AYL videos. You're going to want to like it, you're going to want to share it, and you're going to want to subscribe, right? See all the buttons right here? This is what you're going to want to do, right? Click on them, because we have some really cool videos, all kinds of behind the scenes stuff, bloopers of Alicia crashing and stuff.
Why are you going to sell me out like that, Steven?
So you want to click all of these things and subscribe to our channel because At Your Leisure is awesome, and we'll see you here for more videos.